Well, dear listener, welcome to another episode of Halal Cartels. Today is going to be a little different. It is an away game episode. Samir is otherwise occupied with his ample and abundant life, and so I'll be doing this episode. And you know, as an away game episode, we always have guests. And before I introduce my guest today, something I think about when it comes to stand-up is that it is this like journey inward where we're both trying to discover, you know, our true selves and express our true selves on stage to strangers. But that's only one part of it. Another part of it is that it is an opportunity, at least for me, to see the world. Like, one of the reasons I got into stand-up was to travel, both physically, but then also meet people from all over the globe, you know. And I feel like stand-up has made me more of a global citizen, and it's given me a chance to explore so many different places. And today I'm really excited to have a guest on from
South Sudan.
That's right, from South Sudan.
Yeah.
The number one comedian in South Sudan, Akau Jambo.
Akau Jambo.
Akau Jambo.
I wouldn't want to say number one. I don't want to start a fight with all the comedians pulling up. Oh, what did you say?
Yo, this is a podcast where you are allowed to flex for literally our tens of listeners.
All right.
Could be hundreds of listeners.
If I'm allowed to flex, then I'll take number one in the world. Then let me take number one in the world.
Number one. Okay. Well, yeah.
In the
So
world.
watch the throne, Sebastian Maniscalco, because Akau is coming for you.
I'm coming for y'all.
Yeah, man. So starting off, we met this week at the Black Hat in the Lower East Side, which is a little cafe. And by the way, I love performing in cafes. That is my jam. Cafes for me are Madison Square Garden.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I perform in clubs. I perform for thousands of people, but there's something really intimate and cool about performing in a room with a dozen highly caffeinated individuals in the dark.
Yeah, I love small rooms as well. The cafe just looked weird for me. Like, I went in and there were people reading books, and it's like 7 p.m. And I went to the bar and I asked the ladies, "Excuse me, is this a club? Is this a bar? What is this? Like, tell me." Then I actually asked, "Is this a library?" Then I was like, "Wow, it was." At that time, people reading books. Nah, that's not possible where I come from.
Yeah. So completely like maybe a different experience, you know? And it's that way in New York too. I feel like, people don't read now that we have smartphones. Yeah. But so that cafe felt like it was out of the 90s. It felt like it was out of Friends, you know? Yeah. So out of a sitcom.
It did feel like it used to be a thing. Like, I just couldn't tell when, but it used to be a very, very good thing to do.
Yeah. And I wanted to have you on the pod because I really appreciated your set and just the storytelling element of it. Yeah. When you got up there and you're talking about growing up and to paraphrase, because I'm not going to do it justice, but you did touch upon all these different topics, like being raised in a refugee camp, and then B, coming from a country that is like young. It's not the youngest country in the world anymore, but I can't remember Barbados.
Barbados beat us to the game.
Number one.
Rihanna, why you gotta do me like this, girl? My jokes were rolling well as the youngest country. Then she came through and gave her country independence. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I know for sure. Okay, Rihanna didn't really do it didn't really do it. But the thing is, if your country gets independence and you have a famous person like Jay-Z, Rihanna, they're the people that gave you that independence.
Yes, yeah. Rihanna's gonna be on the $1,
on the list,
the Barbadian dollar.
Yeah,
yeah. They got to put her on the flag. She's gonna be on every T-shirt.
She talked her way to the independence.
I love that twerking for liberty.
Yeah.
She does shine bright like a diamond. I'll say that. Big fan. So yes, but before Barbados took the throne, South Sudan
Yeah, it was
was number one as the youngest baby country.
in
And
the
you know, when
world.
a baby country's got, when we think about a baby country's babies, they have real soft skulls.
Mm-hmm.
They're very gentle. You got to be gentle with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're going through a lot of growing pains. And so, how old is South Sudan
um,
now at this point?
it's 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 11 years, but it's childish as fuck. It's still childish. It's still going through. I wouldn't even say it's puberty yet. It's just childish, right? But we're getting there. We're growing slowly. It's a lot of discovery. It's like Discovery Channel. There's a lot of things we're trying to figure out as a nation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of lows and highs. We've gone through 2 civil wars in the past since we got independence.
Okay, that is bananas because you
Yeah.
guys have been around for like 11 years and
Yeah.
you're like, well, no, how many civil wars?
Two, man.
Two.
Already
That's
topping the game. 2 civil wars. Still trying to find our own constitution. We actually, I think after the first, this is what's crazy, yeah. Like the first civil war sparked when the president and the vice president like disagreed on something, and then the war broke out and they made it a tribal war. So
right.
South Sudan has like 64 tribes, and they're like
Incredibly diverse.
very very diverse. But we're not figured out how to handle the diversity yet. So 64 tribes, and like there's like the two largest tribes, which is like Dinka, like Dinka and Nuer are like the two largest tribes. So the president is Dinka, the vice president is Nuer. Then, and when that issue happened, they made it about tribes, and then it just became like a tribe fighting a tribe, and we lost a lot of people through that. And but the international community came in and said, "Hey guys, we need to sit down." We signed a peace agreement in 2015 that brought the vice president back as a vice president in the government. So they were forced to work together. And then, boom, another civil war breaks out in 2016.
Sure. And was this again between the president and the
Always
vice president?
the two. Always the two homeboys. Always the two. And these homeboys have known each other for like 50 years. Like we were not even there when they met, but we were always fighting about them.
Wow.
Yeah, but in the second civil war, which is very interesting now, is that now many people were involved. Many people wanted their share of the government now. So the peace agreement that was signed, as it's now the constitution, the acting agreement, it now dictates, or it made our country have like one president and 5 vice presidents.
Yes,
Yeah.
I get it. Well, this, you know what this reminds me of is Captain Planet, right? Where you've got like 5 rings or 5 fingers,
Mhm.
and then they make a fist, and then
Mhm.
out erupts the president.
Exactly. So everyone right now is like trying to take part of it, and it's a huge struggle, but we're finding our way through, trying to figure out the democracy and like a lot of things that we're trying to figure out as a nation, but we will get there.
Yeah. So then, your experience, were you raised in South Sudan or?
No, I wasn't raised there. I wasn't even born there. So before 2011, my country went through a 24-year civil war when it was still Sudan.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're talking like this is a triple stack
yeah,
of wars.
Yeah. It's like a layer of civil wars. So
Yeah.
when it was still Sudan, the northern part of Sudan is like the Islam, the Arabic people,
Mm-hmm.
and they have the Sharia law. They have the Arabic. They speak Arabic. That whole culture, Islamic culture. Then the south was more of like like British was there. Like
Yeah.
we are more of like Britain. Britain was here a few days ago.
Yeah,
So
they're
we're
like,
more like
would you
English.
would you like a
Yeah,
flag and
yeah.
a cross? We've got. Would you like to be part of the
Yeah.
Church of England?
Yeah, the Queen did her part there.
Yes.
So it was more English vibes, more Catholic Christians, and so but the South and we're black, and the North is more of like Arabs and all of that. So there was racism and all sorts of things. So the South and which is our people were pushing for like equality and like a multicultural, multi-religious country where everyone can choose what they want to be, and that was the dream of our leader then, who passed on in 2005. So the struggle went on for like 20, at least 24 years. So there was a guerrilla movement that was called SPLM, which is now the government of South Sudan, that fought against the North until the North accepted to have the conversation on the table in 2004 when we signed a peace agreement with them. So all this time, what people would do is they would send their kids out of the country, their kids and wives, and then they stay and fight in the war. And that's what my dad did. My dad sent us to the refugee camp, and then he stayed and fought in the war. And so I was born in the refugee camp actually. When my mom went to the camp, she was pregnant. Like I was the baby that she was pregnant with, and then I was born there.
Are
And I
you the
grew up there.
oldest?
No, I'm the last born.
Oh, the
Yeah.
baby of the family.
Yeah.
The one that gets the attention and doesn't have any harsh rules imposed on them, which is
Exactly.
why maybe why you're a stand-up comedian now.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. So were your older siblings all in the camp with you as well?
Yes. No, but except for one passed on before we went to the camp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he died. I wasn't born then. I think he died in 94. Is it? Yeah. Yeah, I think 94, 95. I can't recall. My mom used to tell me the stories. So, but I moved to the camp with my oldest brother who was born in 95, and then now I was born in 97 when we got to the camp.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we should have gone to the camp in 96 there. I don't remember the stories properly, but my mom would tell me all
And
of those.
was the camp, the refugee camp, on the border of South Sudan? Were you in
Yes, I would say on the border, not directly, but it's on the northern part of Kenya.
Okay.
And we come down from the south down the south from South Sudan. So, but it's quite a distance, and families would walk from there up to the camp. It would take them like 3 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it would take them, or even more. It was crazy, and I mean sometimes some people like when other groups started like supporting the guerrilla movement, there would be some cars to like transport food. They would take a few people, but most of the people walked.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so your father stayed behind.
yeah. My father stayed behind, man. Like he was a major general then. He was in the
Yes.
army.
So he's like a founding. Would your father be considered like a founding father of South Sudan then, as a fighter for its independence?
Founding father would be a heavy word, as the South Sudan has had layers of the movement for us to get here.
Yes.
The first layer was around 1950. There was something called Anyanya 1.
Yeah.
Then thing after Anyanya 1 there was Anyanya 2, I don't recall. And then from there, then SPLM came in. Now SPLM was more of like a smart movement. Anyanya 1 was like, let's go for it. It's war. It's bullets. It's all that.
Yeah.
SPLM had like this the leader of the movement.
Yeah.
He was like this guy who he graduated in Iowa University in the US here.
That's where the international liberation
Exactly.
leaders all get
Exactly.
cultivated in Iowa.
Exactly. Yeah. So he had his master's there, his PhD. Very smart guy.
Sure.
He would move around.
You're like,
the
he had a
world.
liberal arts degree.
Yeah.
He studied poetry, and then he went back home
and changed everything.
Yeah.
So he would move around the world looking for funding for the movement,
Mhm.
talking to partners to support the movement. Like so many people.
God, isn't it crazy how much independence movements just require a good fundraiser?
Yeah. Just a GoFundMe. Just a GoFundMe and you have your own country.
Yeah,
And
it's
those
funny.
days, there was no GoFundMe in those days, man. Like you just go then like, yo, this is what's going on. And he was an amazing speaker. He would just, his name is Dr. John Garang. He would just have you like talk to you for like, and this and then. So in the SPLM movement, which is Sudan People's Liberation Movement, he was the face of the movement, and he was down to talk to the North. He's like, we are here to talk if you want us to talk. But the North was not ready to talk. So he's like, okay, cool, I got my gun too.
Yes.
And then he would pull out his gun and all of that. And one of the darkest histories that actually we have, which is I think that a lot of South Sudanese don't actually talk about, is that there was a big role that he played in having child soldiers in the movement. Like there's so many people right now who are around 40 years old, but they were child soldiers and they were in the movement, and they fought in the movement. And yeah, but it had its dark sides, and then it really had also its great sides. And
I'm all for internships.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the moral gray zones are something I can live with.
Mhm.
But so, of course, these things are terrible, and the need for liberation
Yeah.
was seen as there was an extreme need to.
Yeah. The thing with him is that he always pushed for education. The reason why we all ended up in the camp actually was because of him, and the reason why this whole a lot of South Sudanese are in the U.S. Studying, who moved they called the Lost Boys, who moved here like in the late 90s and all of that. It was because of him, because of the relationship that he built with the West, President Bush by then actually, and the conversations that he had around educating South Sudanese. He was all about the books. He would like all the child soldiers that were in the movement. They would sing a song. They would say, "We are going to war with a pen on our right hand and a bullet and a gun on our left hand." He was always pushing for education, and that's how a lot of us like went to different countries and we like go to school and all of that.
Yeah, so there's a huge diaspora
Yeah.
population of
There is,
people
all
from
over the
South
world,
Sudan
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a big community in the United States.
Yeah.
Have you visited the different communities here? Is this your first time in the U.S.?
It's my first time in the US, but I've not visited any of the community. I'm told that there's a big community in Texas.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think around the south a lot. I think.
That's fun. Interesting because I'm now making this connection. I remember that I had a cab driver.
Right.
And this cab driver was it was in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
and he was telling me a story about how he was a child soldier,
Yes.
and then he was relocated after
Yes.
his time in the conflicts to Texas,
Yeah.
where he lived in a dormitory and got an education,
Yes.
and
Yes.
is now a fully functioning member, integrated into
Yeah.
society.
Yeah.
And so it was this. Now I'm only thinking about it now, but
Yeah,
this
yeah.
anecdote is showing that somebody can transcend or overcome like something so traumatic.
Yes.
And not only that, but he was just so forthright in this cab ride.
Mm.
And also, I was into it.
Yeah.
I am excited when someone is talking to me in the cab, unless they're trying to convert me.
To be a child soldier,
Yeah.
you can't. You don't qualify anymore.
Right. I'm like, hey, look, check it out, guys. Here's my ID. I'm old enough to vote and buy
Yeah,
liquor.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, but there's actually, and they're really hardworking man. Like my uncle as well. He came here in the late 90s.
yeah,
And it was like a big group of South Sudanese young people. They called them Lost Boys, because a lot of them didn't really have family members when they came here. Like a lot of them could not trace their history and all of that.
sure.
And yeah, and they came to a new world to figure it out and all of that. But those who had families back home, they still looked back and supported us. Like my uncle in specific always like helped us, supported us, looked after us the whole time when we were still back home.
Yeah. Now, how long were you raised in this camp?
I lived in the camp until I was about 6, 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, around there. And so this is the time now that my uncle has moved to the US, and he started working here, started putting some things together. And this is around the time that my father passed on. So my uncle took sole responsibility of us and moved us out of the camp and took us to Uganda. So we were in Kenya by then. So he took us to Uganda to go like reunite with the rest of the family.
So your passport is getting a lot of stamps at this point.
I didn't have a passport then. I'm telling you, there was no country. You can't have a passport when you don't have a country.
That's right. So, so Sudan, so South Sudan was still Sudan.
Yeah, it was still Sudan.
And you were living in a refugee camp
Yeah.
in Kenya.
Yeah.
And then your uncle is like, we need to get you out of there.
Yeah.
Let's take you to Uganda where
Yeah.
things make sense.
Yeah. So he moved us to Uganda. We would use like refugee passes to move around.
Yeah.
So he moved us to Uganda, and then we started staying in Uganda until I lived in Uganda until 2020.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah, 'cause-
so that's really where you kind of, your formative years were in the camp.
Yeah.
But then Uganda was where you became a man.
Yeah, and Uganda was more of like you're still a refugee, but with a little bit of people that support you, like back, because we still couldn't go back home.
Yes.
Yeah, we couldn't go back home because we didn't get independence until 2011.
Yeah.
That was the only time that they now say, "Oh, you guys can come back home." And then in like 2 years, another civil war broke out, and so many South Sudanese went back into the refugee camps again.
Because you don't want to go back home.
Yeah,
There's a civil war happening.
Yes, exactly. And also, if you're born and raised in a foreign country, and grew up there your whole time, never met any of your family members your whole life, and they just say, "Oh yeah, you can go back home." What are you gonna do? Who do you know? Like, how? Where are you gonna start? And those were the questions that I had then. I had nothing that connected me back home. I knew nobody personally. I mean, they tell you, "Oh, you have cousins here," and all of that, but you've never been there, so
Yeah, it's
there's no
people that
connection.
they look like you, but you don't have
Yeah,
any inside jokes.
yeah. We don't have any inside jokes and anything like that. My mom, who would have taken me and introduced me and all of that, also passed on in 2008. So now I
Yeah.
have no parents. I'm in a foreign country with my brother and my other two cousins, and it's just us. And we can't just say, "Oh, let's go back there." And we're in school, so the whole plan was like, "Okay, let's just continue studying, finish this school thing."
Who's paying for the school?
So my uncle, when he was here, when they just came here, like as a young refugees and all of that, they established a relationship with the community they were in. There were like a big number of them, like almost 100, that the community noticed that they were there, and they started getting support, especially in Virginia. Started getting support from the community members in
Great
church.
fundraisers.
Exactly. Yeah, you've seen the point. So he fundraised. He met some lady. Her name is Jewel Hill. She's actually visited her. I met her for the first time in my life last month,
Wow.
and so he met her and told her about us, and she was willing to support us and put us in school, and never met us before. So she would pay for our school for the five of us, actually, me and my brother, my half brother, and my two cousins, and she would send us money for school and for um for the rent, housing, and some food. My uncle would also chip in sometimes, and we did that until we finished high school. So you get done with high school, sends you money to go to your driving classes, and then you're done with that. And then now you go figure yourself out.
That's right.
So by the time I was done with high school and all of that, I was like, I can now pick it up. Like things are now coming together in my life, and I could now pick it up.
That's great. Did you
Mm.
go to university
Yeah.
in Uganda?
Yeah, I did. I was a very smart and like very vibrant kid. I played badminton when I was in high school, and they you'd get like sports scholarship for that shit. So I got out of this scholarship. I jumped into the next scholarship.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was pretty good for me. I think I got a scholarship for like 2 semesters, and then the rest of the semesters I was hustling. I used to do some work like in the. I used to sell furniture at some furniture store. I was a broker, made some good commission. I would support myself. Whenever I would run out of money, I would still make some calls around. Like that, you have those relatives that you would just call and say, "Hey, I I want to pay for my school. It's $600, and I have $200." And they're like, "Yeah, cool. I can give you $200." And yeah,
Fundraising.
fundraising. Yes, we should call this podcast the fundraiser. Why not? Why don't we call it that?
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Mm.
I love this. So, what was your passion in school then? What were you studying at this time?
Um,
Or what in yeah, academically, were you thinking, "Oh, I really want to go in this lane."
academically, I I was a smart kid. Like
Yeah.
I passed almost all the subjects. I used to have a little bit that would be lower sometimes and all of that, but um, especially sciences sometimes would disturb me a little bit. But I would balance them and like score the rest, and I would be the first in class or second or third most of the times there. But to me, school was not like a learning institution
Sure.
in the sense of someone teaching me what to do. To me, school was like it was like a learning community.
Yeah.
It was the world, but in a closed space. So most of the things that I learned in school and the things that helped me until today are not the things that I learned from the teacher, but the things that I learned from the kid that's sitting next to me, and the kid that I disagreed with and the one that I agreed with, and all of that, and the friends that I made. And those are the things that have brought me up to where I am right now.
Yeah.
So my favorite thing about school, always wanted to be in school, because home was not home. We just go stay there, and then when school time comes, we go back. We had no relative, no parent. It was just the five kids that would stay there.
Yeah.
So we don't like it.
No home cooking.
Yeah, no home cooking. We don't like it. The only time we cook, it's it's terrible food. But we just pass through it. 2 weeks in holiday, we go back to school, and we all went. The 3 of us went to no, the two of us went to one school. The other ones went to a different school. So me and my brother went to one school. We were in the same class, and then the other ones went to the other school. So when I was always back, that community for me was where I wanted to be. The
Right.
fun, the love, the energy, different kids, weird ones, not weird ones, interesting ones. And that was the favorite part for me.
Now, during this time, because today, it'd be remiss to remind everyone that you were a stand-up comedian, an
Yeah.
international,
Yeah.
traveling, touring, working professional comedian,
Yeah.
and young, very young too,
Yeah.
relatively for 1997.
Yeah, I can vote though.
Yeah, right. Too old to be a child
I
soldier.
just don't have an
but
election. We don't have elections.
Yeah.
But I can vote.
Yeah, but so during this time though, what are you taking, like drama classes? Are you watching stand-up comedy? What got you into this art form?
No. Except roast battles within your own friends.
Yes,
There was, and I didn't think that would even lead to my stand-up career.
you
But-
were a roast battler.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! And
Were you the meanest?
I would throw like proper jab around, and so my clique had my brother in it, and my brother was a silent person. He doesn't really drop a lot of roast and all of that, and I'm very vibrant. I throw around. So whenever they go for my brother, that would hurt me. That shit.
Yes.
It's like that's like my weakest point and all of that. And so the clique had very funny kids, man. Like I wasn't even the funniest. There's
Yeah.
this dude called Odoch. He's in Uganda right now. I think he's my inspiration for my sense of humor. He is the funniest human being I've ever come across.
Yes.
He's so funny, and he brought me into the world that ended me here. Like the reason why I'm here is probably one of those reasons.
Now,
when-
what does he do now? Is he an engineer? And
Nah, I even don't know what he's up to right now. The last
Yeah.
time I checked, he was still in school. I think he just finished his degree. I don't know what he's up to now. I haven't spoken to him in a minute. Yeah, but all I know for sure is that he's still funny on the streets. But when he says he goes on stage, he doesn't want to do that. He cannot do that. He says so.
Yeah.
But he introduced me to so many people, to a world where I started like being a very vibrant and hustling kid. The world, I'm like, he used to live in this neighborhood. It's called Zambia, where he grew up. He introduced me to his friends there, and then I moved out of our house and started staying in that neighborhood. And he taught me how to play badminton. I got a scholarship because of him. And then when I started living in that neighborhood, I started working in the furniture store there. And the guy who persuaded me to be a comedian is someone that I met through him.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone that I met through him. And for 10 years, I met him in 2010. For 11 years now, we've known each other. Actually, the guy just went back to Boston yesterday. He moved to the US as well. So I met him yesterday for the first time in 3 years.
Wow. And what is he doing now?
He has a pharmaceutical, I think it's a distribution company or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I didn't catch it quite well.
So, but maybe he still snaps. He still roasts.
Yeah, he does. He does. That's the funny thing, because we always do, like when I was still home, we just get on phone calls, and then the phone is connected. Me in South Sudan, my friends in Uganda, and then him in the US, and then we just talk about random things that we did like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and it's just always funny. It's always hilarious. He's still very funny.
So tell me about the Uganda comedy scene. This is where you kind of
Yeah.
cut your teeth, and
Yeah.
your origin story.
Yeah, it's a dope scene, I should say. It's growing quite well. The scene started around 2010, 11. It should be around there. But I joined in 2016.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know what the spark was? Because you said it started around 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in 2010, there's a TV company. I think it's called DSTV or something. MultiChoice. They did something called Stand Up Uganda. It's like a stand-up comedy competition.
Yes.
They did it in 2010, and some comics came up and did the thing. Amazing guys. It was won by a guy called Pablo, and then the first runner-up is Salvador, and then the second runner-up was Daniel O'Mara. Yeah, amazing comedians. Salvador is like, he's big now. He's like all over Africa doing gigs everywhere. I just did a gig with him actually at the beginning in April. We did a gig in South Africa in April. Very funny guy, top guy. And also the other comedians are also like doing pretty well as well. And so that was the spark of the comedy scene. After that, they came together and they formed a comedy club. It was called Crackers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
matter where you go in the world,
Yeah.
comedy clubs have the corniest names.
Corniest names ever, man. It was called Crackers. But now the interesting part is that the winner
Yeah.
has a different style from these guys.
Okay.
He doesn't cuss. He's Christian. He has a belief, religion, and all of that. So he did his own thing. That's called Pablo Live.
Yes.
Then his name is Pablo. Then the other guys did Crackers, and they would like switch every now and then. And his show ran for like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
It's not running anymore, but it did pretty well. So by the time I joined, the scene had already like kicked off. There were some rooms, but the rooms were really hard to get on. Like it's not like in the US here you can sign up with your credit card and then you get stage time. Nah,
Right.
so it doesn't happen like that. The only chance that we had was there's this dude called Timothy Nyanzi. He's a comedian in Uganda. He's my mentor. He does rehearsals every week, every Tuesday. Random people from all over the country. Everyone knows him now. People just recommend like go there because people from all over the country just go to him, and then it's behind the theater. So every Tuesday evening, random people come together. You go up, tell a few jokes that you have, and then they help you like put the piece together and all of that. And then when the piece is proper, he has a weekly open mic
Yes.
where you can jump on and then you try the set out and all of that. Excuse me. So that's what I got on. The first time I went to when my friend told me that to try out comedy, I looked up a comedy club and I went to this spot and I wanted to perform. They say you can't go on stage right now, but we can connect you to Timothy. I said, cool. I called the guy. He was like, yeah, come through. I go on Tuesday. I try out these jokes and blah blah blah. I was trying to be Trevor Noah so much because the first special that I watched in
Yeah.
2015 was Lost in Translation by Trevor Noah,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I loved it so much. And then I was like, if I ever want to do something like this, I would want to do it like this guy. Then a few months later, my friend tells me to do stand up. So in my mind, I just connected that what my friend told me with Trevor Noah, and then I go up and I want to do things like Trevor Noah. But this guy now, Timothy, his energy is more of like, he's not looking for something funny when you first come to him.
Yes.
He's looking for your confidence, for your ability to just express yourself amongst those people and all of that, and then help you find the funny.
Correct.
So
yeah.
when I went there, I was confident. I could express myself and all of that. So he was now helping me to find the funny, to find my brand, find my character. And he said, hey, I think you need to speak like you. I want you to tell me who you are. No, don't speak like someone else. And I think he noticed that. And
he saw you aping Trevor.
Yeah. And he helped me around. Every time we would hang out, I would write some small pieces. He say, yeah, that's good. Add a little bit of this. And when he would get stage time, he would put me on to go do some jokes. And I remember my first show. I got my first gig 3 months after I started doing the rehearsals. 3 months, man.
Yeah.
I was patient for 3 fucking months to do the show.
Wow. And how much time did you do on your first show?
5 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah.
The longest 5 minutes.
Longest 5 minutes ever. And the minute I did that 5 minutes, I was like, fuck, what else am I going to do now? I've done this. I've rehearsed this 5 minutes for 3 months, and then I've done it. What else am I going to do? And because the comedy audience is small there, it's the same people that will come and watch the gigs again. So you got to have more material.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not
That's
like
the
new people
curse
come
of a
through.
little scene.
Yeah, so I did my first gig there, but I started writing more. I was so lucky that the dude lived in the same neighborhood as myself, so we took the same bus back home.
Yes.
And every time, and he goes to work in the central business district every day. So every time I'm a hustler there, and I don't have like a specific job, but I'm on those streets trying to get good money.
Yeah.
So I would be in the city doing random things every now and then, and when I'm there, like at 5, I send him a message. Are you in town? He say, yeah, I'm in town. I'm seated. There's a bar that is called Waikiki, and then I would go sit with him. He shows me some stand-up sets, different comedians, and I would pick inspiration from those comedians. He sees comedians that might have a good style as mine. Say, I watch this guy, watch that guy, follow this guy, and after that we take the same bus home. So I was doing extra time with this guy. This guy was giving me extra time of mentoring, and
Yes.
it helped me learn like real quick that I picked up that my breakthrough. I started comedy in 2016, and my breakthrough was 2018.
Yes.
January 2018 was my breakthrough.
Wow. So
Yeah.
it was a pretty a quick ascent.
It was very quick. It was very quick, and it was because of him. Like I opened for as a comedian that I opened for. Kilo Kilo, he had a special. He put me on. I opened for him. He liked my set. He took me on a tour within the country. I did another gig, and then I met this other comedian, Daniel O'Mara, the second runner up of the competition in 2010.
Yes.
I met him there, and
The original
the
Ugandan
patient
king of
zero
comedy.
of comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loved my set, and he said, "Hey man, I'm going on tour in Rwanda at the end of the year. Do you want to come with me?"
Yeah.
and I was-
Nothing like a holiday in Rwanda.
Yeah, and I said, "Yes, let's do it."
Yeah.
And he said, "You can come with your boys if you want. Like I have like a whole apartment to myself. It's like 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and you guys can come through. You guys can find your way there, and we can come through." I said, "Cool." I tell the boys, "This is Timothy, Andre, my friend, Okelo, Optional Alan, and then myself." So we took a bus there. We went and checked out the gig, and this is where I met Julio.
Yeah.
Julio, the
So yeah. Oh yeah. Shout outs to Giulio
Yeah.
Gallerati,
yeah.
who I believe is now in Afghanistan.
No, he just got back.
Okay,
He just
great.
got
I
back.
saw some photos of
Random
him
dude.
on
He's great.
IG. Very funny comedian in New York.
Yeah. So he also came for the same gig in Rwanda,
Yeah.
and this is where we met. And Rwanda was a vibe, man. It was a very very good vibe. So now I have a character. I'm a South Sudanese stand-up comedian, and like I told you, when I told you that it took me so long to go back home or to find a reason to go back home, and this is what comedy did for me. Like when I finished school, and I was doing comedy now, in my mind I was like, okay, what am I doing? And this is what my mentor helped me find my way back home using comedy. Like I was like, okay, I think I want to do this for my country. I want to do this for where I come from. I want to use this to connect with where I come from. And I followed tabloids from South Sudan, followed South Sudanese politicians, historians, and now I am into my country. Now I'm no longer the refugee child that was just raised outside the country, and I learned so much about my country. And every single day that went by, I was so proud that I was from there.
Yeah. I love what you're saying.
The stories that I would talk to elders, and I want to hear stories. Tell me what happened on this day. Tell me that, and characters, different characters. Who was this type of person? What did they do, and all of that? And I started bringing up so much great material for me that stage was just where I wanted to be, to tell the South Sudanese stories. I wanted to be there to tell the stories of a stand-up comedian in a refugee camp, raised there, and in Uganda, and all of that. I'm not trying to be anyone else anymore. I'm trying to be now the South Sudanese comedian. And so when we went to Rwanda, it's 4 Ugandan comedians and 1 South Sudanese comedian. And there were 2 spots to do on the lineup, 5 comedians. And so they say, hey guys, it's 2 spots. There's 1
We're
South
about to have
Sudanese.
another civil war now.
We almost had it. One dude jumped up. It's like, I'm doing the spot. And they're like, nah, chill. This spot is gonna be by merit. Like we have to discuss as a group and say this one takes the spot.
Wow, you guys had a democratic
Yeah, it
council
was very
meeting?
democratic. It was very democratic.
That's insane.
The dudes were like, let the South Sudanese guy take the 1 spot.
Yeah.
And then that's when I realized that I'm actually different from all these dudes. I might
Right.
be hanging out with them, but I'm really different from them. And then the other spot was also given to Timothy, and everyone else was just on vibes. Let's party, let's drink, let's do all these things. I was still drinking by then. So yeah, I go up on stage. Tim went fast, and then at some point I go up on stage. I used to have like this dope. I used to have like a joke I used to do about I think it was the first joke that I wrote that I was really proud of. It used to be like about an embassy, the time that we had those civil wars going on in my country, I used to do a joke. I was like I love how embassies work. And I try to explain to people that an embassy is like one of the things that embassies do, except giving visas to people in that country to go to visit their country, they protect their citizens. Like right now,
Yeah.
there's like maybe let's say there's a Mexican embassy here. That's if they allowed you to have it.
Yes.
There's a Mexican embassy here. If anything goes on, the Mexican citizens can run to the embassy and they can be helped and they can be taken back to their own country by their own embassy in case of a war or anything like that. And then I would say South Sudan is so insecure that we have an embassy of South Sudan in South Sudan itself. So whenever we fight, we go to our own embassy to help us, and it's like your mom slapping you, and you run back to your mom for help. Like I used to do that set, and it would blow. People loved it, and that's the joke that Julio had. And after the show, he came to me. He's like, "Yo, I love the embassy joke and all of that." And then we became friends there, and I was in his video, the video that I featured in that video that he did in Kigali. And then we went separate ways. He came back to the US. I went to Uganda. But after that show, is a dude that saw me do my set, and he came to me. He's like, "I loved your set. I'm going to Kenya with a comedian. My comedian, he's a manager, and they're doing a festival. I can talk to them. If you want to do it, I can talk to them and I can put you on." I'm like, cool. So I didn't have a phone, bruh. I lost my phone like 2 months before then. I couldn't afford another phone. I had like a small button phone, and he gave me his email. I had to write it in a book. Like I had nowhere to put it. Actually, I had not yet replaced my phone. I replaced it when I came back to Uganda. So I wrote the email on the book. I still have the book, my jokes book.
Yeah,
The email, the phone number, and everything. I have it in my book. Put the book so tight. This is my career. I'm not losing this thing. It's gonna take me to Kenya. I come back to Uganda. I send the guy an email. I had to go to like an internet cafe and send the guy an email. Like, chuck. This is guy. Hey, my name is Akau. I'm a South Sudanese stand-up comedian, and this guy told me about you, and you guys have a festival, and I would like to come. And then the guy responds like, "Oh yeah, he did tell me about you. He said you're really good." Then he said, "We have this thing happening on the 11th of December, but we are all booked out. We can't afford to pay for you or anything like that. But if you can make your way here, there's stage time for you." I said, "Whoa, what am I gonna do? I don't have money. I think I had about $50 to my name.
It's a 3-month walk.
Fucking 3 months, bro. I don't love comedy that much. I have like $50 to my name. I'm South Sudanese. To go there, I need like at least $150.
Sure.
$50 for the border because I have to pay $50 visa to and fro, and I couldn't afford that shit. So I thought to myself, I was like, you know what, man, let me make it happen. I used to speak Luganda, so I go to this port where they make travel documents for Ugandans, and I told them I'm Ugandan, and the lady did not want to believe me, but I found like a mother-looking lady that would feel some mercy for me, and I told her, "Yo, I'm Ugandan. Like I need this. I'm traveling." At some point, she just ended up giving it to me. I know she knew that I wasn't even Ugandan, but she just gave it to me. So now I've cut down the $100 for the visa because I have a Uganda travel document now. Now the next thing is, how am I gonna get there and come back with $50? So I paid for the travel document for 20, so I had like $30. How am I gonna do that with $30? And it's the festive season. It's almost December, so it's expensive. So I paid for this bus, and the bus left me.
No.
It was full. They left. I don't even know why they kicked me out of the bus. I think I paid a subsidized amount for it, so they kicked me out. Then there was another bus, but it was a cargo bus. It only takes like stuff and all of that. So I spoke to the guy and said, "Hey man, take me. Like I don't care where I'm gonna sit, just take me." And he said, "Cool, jump in." He throws me in the bus. I'm in the bus there. Random dude, like big bald dude. He's like very Pan-African. Like the whole time we're in that car, we were talking about Africa. It's like he would call me Africa. I'm like, "Why are you calling me Africa? You're Africa too."
Yes.
He's Ugandan. Why are you calling me Africa? He said, "No, I believe in Africa." He knew all those African legends, all the freedom fighters and all of that. And he said, I have helped you because you are my brother. You are my young brother, and blah blah. I'm like, thank you, man. We reach Kenya. He takes me out for breakfast. Then after that, it's like, Africa, who's coming to pick you? I said, yeah, this dude is coming to pick me. I called the dude. The dude made me wait for like 2 hours, man. I
Yeah.
waited for like 2 hours. Then he finally showed up, and and took me to the gig. Now I've just landed the gig, and there are other people that have been booked. I'm not booked, so I have to act humble. You don't
That's
wanna,
right.
yeah,
That's
you
right.
don't wanna.
I know that. I know
Yeah.
that. You got it. So,
So
nobody knows me.
Nobody knows me, and I'm gonna keep it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they discuss the lineup. The lineup comes up, and my name is there. I was actually surprised. Oh, they even printed my name. That's cool. I took a picture of it, and then there was this Ugandan comedian that was booked for the show. Her name is Kotilda. Very nice person. She helped me out so much. She fed me while I was there, helped me with my set to put my set together, and that's what I love about comedians, man. Wherever we meet, like we show each other that love. Like you don't want to be big on someone else. Like
That's right.
support each other and all of that. So she supported me. We went to a hotel. I stayed at the lobby. We were drinking and having some food there. And then before the show, because I didn't have a place to go change and do everything, so I went to her manager's room and I took a nap there, got ready, and then I went for the show. I come to the show. It's called Laugh Festival 2. The show was like 5,000 people.
Wow.
Yo, 5,000 people. And I was the fourth on the lineup. I jumped on the lineup there. And all this is the biggest crowd I've ever performed for. All those people looking at me. And I do my set for like, I think it was 10-minute set.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that gives you time to cook.
Yeah.
10 minutes is
10
time
minutes.
to cook.
You have a way back and all of that.
Yes.
10-minute set, beautiful set. And boom, I get off stage. And I was so happy. I was so excited. And then everyone else just came on and did their thing. So many other big comedians now do their thing. The show ended like at 3 a.m. And then I had a friend from Kenya that I met, also a comedian that I met in Rwanda. He also helped me around. Like I stayed at his house another day. Then I found my way back home. I had a cousin that lived in the same country but a different state. So I went to that state and then I found myself back home in Uganda. And then the video comes out. I get the video. I just share it on my Facebook and I move on with life. And the video just went viral, like 100,000 views and like, I don't even know, like 50,000 shares and all of that in a very short amount of time. And then that's where I got the breakthrough. This is now like 2017, December, 2018, January.
Yeah.
That was like my breakthrough now.
Well, your breakthrough had a ferryman, the Pan-African ferryman who brought you in the truck, and you were in a truck that was not for people.
A lot
of like little
a lot of people.
A lot of people helped you along the way.
A lot of people, man, and it's the same thing, man. Like I don't know, man. I think other people might have different experiences, but I've traveled across Africa. I've done comedy in about 10 countries so far.
What are some countries?
I've been to Egypt, Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, South Africa, Botswana. Where else? This is 6. I'm missing Tanzania and the US now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm missing some things.
Well, next you got to go to Barbados
and pick our throne up. Yeah, and the energy, like you meet comedians. I met people for the first time and they're always willing to help. They're always willing to help. I don't know. I don't want to say something about me, but I just want to say it's something about my story of my life that everyone that I've found in the way has opened doors for me. Like I've met a lot of times people who open the door for me, then people shut the doors for me.
Yeah.
So when I meet people who shut the doors for me, I do not get so hurt.
Right.
I'm just grateful about people that open the doors for me, and I just like say it's one of those days. Yeah, like and it was like when I first came to New York here, and I went to this club and I think the booking scene of New York is quite different from everywhere else. Like you don't
Mm-hmm.
just get on like that. And I thought it's the same thing in like the way it is everywhere else. So I went to this club and this dude was like, "Oh no, they don't just book everyone, and this guy doesn't like you asking for spots or something like that. He say you can just sit there and hang out." So I said, "Okay, cool, let me try it." I
Yeah.
sat down, I hanged out a bit. There was one comedian there. I tried to talk to him. He told me the same thing. The energy wasn't also really, really like. Told me the same thing. I said, "Cool." He moved out. Then there was this other dude that just walked up to me and said, "Hey man, are you a comedian?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, you trying to get on?" I said, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh yeah, it's hard to get on these spots, but I'll try to talk to the guy if I see him around and all of that." And I'm like, this is the energy that it's needed. Like this is what I'm talking about. That type of love and all of that. And I appreciated what he really did. It didn't get me on, but I love that connection or that conversation, and that's what we had when I did the gig at the cafe. You and Zach and Danny like giving me all that energy, like we've not known each other before, but it's comedy that reunites us. And when I find you anywhere else, I have to do that. I owe you that. I owe the game that for the things that I've gotten out of the industry. I owe everyone that. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. Well, you go where the love is.
yeah.
And I always feel like the energy is just moving from person to person to person,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, however you want to put this in a metaphysical way. For
Mm-hmm.
me, the
Mm-hmm.
vibes continue to move. But then also, the reason that I got into stand up
Yeah.
personally is like it is, it's a spiritual discipline
Mm-hmm.
for me because it is like a journey of self discovery,
Mm-hmm.
but it is also a journey to connect with all other people. It is through stand up that every time that I've traveled, I've had a better experience.
Mm.
So when I went to France, it was the opportunity to do stand up in France that got me connected with people from Portugal, people from Algeria,
Yeah.
people from all over the world that were there as well.
Yeah.
Same thing in the Netherlands. Whenever I travel across the country, like kind of what you're
Yeah. Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
community of people who like stand up it's a little bit like AA
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
where you whatever town you show up in, you find the other people that are part of that tribe, that
Yeah.
like AA community.
Exactly. Exactly.
But it's more than that too, because it's also a way to meet people who aren't stand-ups,
Yeah.
who come to watch the show.
Yeah.
And when I travel, or if I go somewhere and I'm only taking from the place, it feels like I'm not really learning anything about that space.
Yeah.
But the thing that I can give back is the set. So my performance
Mm.
when I do stand up is like the thing that I can give back,
Mm-hmm.
um, as trade for being welcomed into whatever space I'm in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's the way people get to know you,
It,
and it's
it,
like,
it is. It is. I mean, if the focus and this is the thing for me. My focus when I meet a lot of comedians, my focus is to not be the funniest amongst everyone else. Like people always put unnecessary type of competition. Don't always try to be the funniest. Yeah.
right.
Like we're all doing this thing. We're all funny. It's not about being the funniest. Yeah. It's it's more about you being better than who you were yesterday. And the only thing that can make you a better person day in, day out is being at peace with yourself.
Yeah.
Address all the insecurities. I go to all those lineups with no competition with no one else. It's just me trying to get back. I'm not trying to be better than you or be better than the next person.
I'm at war with myself to be at peace with myself.
That's it. That's all you need. Like, oh, I did this set yesterday. This was missing. Let me work on that. Let me work on the delivery. That's it. When you do that, you come out properly. But when you say you want to be better than everyone else, it confuses you. You go, someone does a set and it's hilarious. You want to be better than them. You fuck up your whole thing. You want to do this. You want to do that. You're getting envious of other people for no reason. You feel like other people's wins are like your loss. It's not. If you come up here, you have a gig with Comedy Central or something like that, something big and all of that. Why would I feel like it's a loss to me? Dude, I live in Africa. How the fuck was I going to get that? You get what I'm saying? But if I'm I'm happy for you that you get that shit. And I'm happy to know you that you have that thing in your and the fact that I also have you in my contacts is good. Like if I ever if you ever hear my name in that room, you're like, yeah, I know that dude. He does this, he's good at that. And I can get my opportunity through that. So if we stop looking at like these things as competition, I think it works out for me. It's less depressing that way, man.
Yeah. Well, okay, but to add on to
Yeah.
everything you've said,
Yeah.
is that there has to be a critical mass of comedians who exist in an ecosystem with more comedians
Mm.
get better
Mhm.
because there is a competition
Yeah.
craft wise.
Yes. Yes.
And in the same way that roasting, if
Yeah.
you're like in a crew and there's only two of you roasting and everyone else is just quiet and their feelings get hurt, then no one gets meaner
Yeah.
in a funny way, right?
Yes.
So I was just wondering, do you feel like, well, maybe this goes back to the festival you're creating.
Yeah.
You're now helping create a community
Yes.
in South Sudan
Mhm.
to make like better comedians.
Mhm.
Can you tell me a little bit about this festival?
Yeah. I think I'll pick it up from the competition thing, the back and forth
Yeah.
when you have all of that. I think when you focus, like when you're roasting each other,
Yeah.
there is a line between where you stop being funny in the roast wise manner to being mean.
Yeah.
When you focus on making your punchline funnier, you stay funny. But when you focus on making it funnier than that person's punchline,
Sure.
you're going over. So you'll be offensive. You look for even things that hurt that person to just bring that person down and all of that. So just focus on doing your things better.
Yes.
And speaking about focus, like I started a comedy special like I've been thinking about this idea for like 5 years now, 4 years when I started traveling doing comedy. Then I did start a the first comedy festival in South Sudan. It's called Juba International Comedy Festival. And I brought together different comedians from across Africa for a 2-day comedy festival and a comedy clinic as well, because I want to connect. And these are people that I met on the road. These are friends that I met that really helped me, from my mentor, the dude who put me on stage for the first time, to this dude I met in South Africa that has given me so many gigs across Africa. I brought them over and say, hey, let me exchange this energy that I got from you guys. Let me
Right.
see who else will pick up from this energy. Who else are you going to meet here? And who else do you think has that energy that you want to have in your own country? And there were comedians that were on, I want to say 2 comedians, amazing South Sudanese comedians as well, that one of them started 2 years after me.
Uh-huh.
And the other one used to do comedy, but was in Arabic. So he started also doing English comedy 2 years after me as well. So they did the festival. Hilarious guys. And these guys love them. These guys, like, if I have something, I want to have this guy. And that's the energy. That's what I want
Yeah.
to happen. And the ecosystem has to grow. Like, it's lonely here. If I'm the only one in this thing, it's lonely
That's right.
for me.
And who do you even bounce ideas off of?
Yeah.
Right? Because you were bringing up, like, I get so much inspiration listening to other podcasts.
Mm.
You know, I was listening to one called Close Call, and it's about like near-death experiences that people were having. And immediately after I listened to that podcast, I was like, oh, now I want to write down like my near-death experiences. So it's not that I want to copy what they did, but the prompts
Yeah.
were like, oh yeah, man, I can do that. I got that bit.
Yeah. You also just wanna see the demographics of some people's brains. I just wanna see, like, if you do a joke about the mortuary, the morgue.
Right.
I want to see.
I do have a joke about the morgue.
You do have a joke about the morgue. That's beautiful. When you do have it and I hear it, I want to be like, oh, there's actually something funny in the morgue. Okay, let me enter the morgue. Let me put my brain into the morgue and look around. I might find something. I'm not stealing a joke,
right?
But you've opened a new world for me,
a new setting,
exactly, for me to go and move around and find stuff. Because the things we're doing have been done before. All these jokes we're telling, jokes about kids, about black people, white people, all of that. They've been telling those jokes for so many years. But it's because the setting has been open for us that we go in and find other things.
Yes.
So I want to listen to other people also do different jokes, and I go into that setting and find something for myself without stealing anyone's joke.
Yeah, and like watching your set was revolutionary, because the idea of finding humor in the refugee camp.
Yeah.
You know, being a little kid and like all the little scams going
on.
Yeah. Hilarious. And then also talking about a nation that's so new, and something that we always forget, I think in the United States specifically, is like, I love history. And in the US, we think that our country's special, but it's only existed like 250 years. So to remember that countries can be newer than that,
Yeah.
and that civilizations that lasted 1,000 years have already crumbled and been forgotten. That
Yeah.
it's humbling.
The US are it's one thing I really found funny about the US is that, okay, two things. So many things though, but I'm just gonna pick on two things.
Yeah, man. Tell me, I would love to hear.
Which is one thing that I'm gonna snitch on you all the minute I land. You guys do not practice the democracy that you guys preach. Like that democracy that you're telling us to have in Africa, you guys don't have that shit. And I swear to God, the minute I land, I'm like, guys, they lied to us. There's no democracy there. Like we're spending so much time on this democracy thing. And like when the US holds us accountable as Africa for democracy, you would think that it's top notch. The democracy is flawless, but it's not. And also another thing,
The champagne of democracies.
no, this is the beer of democracy.
Yeah.
This is the beer.
This is the Molson Ice
Yes.
of democracies.
Another thing that I want to use the word without being rude. The US population is so uninformed about what's happening in the
Yes.
whole world. And it's not anyone's fault. It should be maybe not the population fault. It's where you get the media, the education system. Because when the Queen passed on a few days ago,
R.I.P. How do we feel about the Queen? Let's. Oh man, I wish we were videotaping this so that everybody could see Akau's face when I said R.I.P. the Queen. Oh yeah. Well, you know what? Her death. I
still-
don't want to interrupt.
I still want the UK visa, bro. So I'm just gonna say RIP. I want the
Yeah.
UK visa.
But you were saying we were uninformed.
Yeah,
so
I
she
was
passed
saying-
away.
Like African Twitter and South Africa and Irish people and Scottish people were wilding out. And the US were like, why are you people doing that? And you're like, you guys really don't know what has been going on. That you don't know the impact that the British really had on Africa in general. And that's why people have mixed feelings about that.
Right.
Yeah, because people want, and I think my favorite what really explained this whole situation for me was someone tweeted and said that people want Africans to mourn for the Queen and feel mercy basing on their experiences,
Yes.
which is wrong. Yeah, because you might have a great experience to some people in the West. The
Yes.
monarchy is that beautiful, that Netflix special, that Netflix show of Crown, that beautiful thing and all of that. Beautiful. That's your experience. Now we have a different experience of that.
Correct.
When someone dies, I am gonna remember you as who you were to me, and I'm gonna mourn you as who you were to me, and you will also mourn them as who they were to you, right? I can't mourn you, but mourn the person based on you, and that's why when people are not happy this side, you understand that these people have a dark history with this person, and they care less. And then those people, you have the beautiful history, and I don't blame you for feeling the way you feel. Just understand when people do not feel the way you feel because they have different experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say, in the U.S., we watch. The propaganda is that if you watch Disney movies from the very youngest age, every little girl is told that she's a princess.
Yeah.
And to me, it's outrageous that we live in a democracy where we're like whatever we're supposed to elect people into office, and yet all of the stories and myths that we tell to our children are like around romanticizing kings and queens.
Yes.
And it's like, no, like progress is chopping the heads off the kings and queens
Yeah.
and getting us to a more egalitarian government or system.
Mm-hmm.
So why do we, of course, people are going to grow up and have these good feelings subconsciously towards their oppressors.
Mm-hmm.
If you tell them from a young age
Yeah.
that they're like benevolent.
Exactly. I mean, all African countries had kings and queens.
Which is, also
Well,
different though.
Yeah, well,
I'd
they
say.
did
Not
have kings
yeah.
and queens. Then when the British visited, all the kings and kingdoms, the kingdoms all died, and then Britain has a kingdom until now.
Right.
How do you expect those people to feel about that? The people were really close to the people who still believe in their kingdoms, and they're really close to all those things. So it's a very deep conversation that you can't just say, "Hey, why didn't you say R.I.P. to the Queen?" person has it. How do you think they know the word rest in peace? Ask yourself that. How do you think they can spell and pronounce the word rest in peace?
That's right. And I think about, well, I'm going to talk about the Queen a lot more on the next episode that we do.
Yeah.
But looking at what I found really interesting was because of Black Twitter and
Yeah.
because of Instagram, the uncovering her death was like pulling this rock off of like the landscape and
Yeah.
underneath
Yeah.
all of the bad
Yeah.
shit, the
The
legacy.
can of worms was open. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly, the worms, and I'm like, oh, look at the Mau Mau,
Yeah, Mau Mau rebellion.
rebellion in Kenya, and look at the repression during that. Look at like the history and legacy of apartheid in South
Yeah.
Africa.
Yeah.
Look at all of these different places where the royal crown has influenced like post-colonial, post-World War
Yeah.
II.
And this shit was 50.
trauma.
It was 50 years ago, and I know of people who are 50 years old right now.
Right.
People who were there, so you can't say it's long ago. Those people still. There's a video of a lady, a 97-year-old lady from Kenya who was in the Mau Mau rebellion, who was talking about how she was abused by the British people and all of that
Yeah.
on TV. And she's there. She's alive right now. So that person's child and granddaughter and grandson, do you expect them to go say R.I.P.?
Right. Yeah. So I and that's part of the Halal Cartels brand is we
Yeah.
love to talk about post-colonial developments.
Is this on the halal side or on the cartel side?
Well, dude, the halal side for us, we had a guest on last week, Luisa, and her take on like the halal part is trying to find a righteous and just system that's outside of the Western ideology.
Yeah.
Right, like a different morality, and then the cartel side is like the outlaw part, where like they work together. It's like finding your own way.
Yeah.
So like the cartel part in your story to me is like the hustler in you that found his way
Yeah.
across all of these different borders, and the fundraiser, you know, and the halal side
Yeah.
is like the one who's accepting all of the positive
Yeah.
rewards and
That the world gives
energy
you. Mhm.
that the world is giving you
And return it.
and returning it.
Return it at all costs.
So that is the
Gratitude is a must. Loyalty is a habit.
yes.
That's the way it is.
Yeah. So I feel like that is a wonderful phrase to end this on. This has been so amazing. Akau Jambo, thank you
you,
so
bro.
much, man.
Thank you so much.
Where can people find you?
Oh yeah. My handles Akau Jambo, AKAUJAMBO. That is Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok, same thing. YouTube, Akau Jambo. And my website is akaujambo.com.
Yeah. All right. Well, how long are you in town for?
I leave on Sunday actually.
Okay. What
Yeah.
date?
What date?
Yeah.
It's on the 18th. I leave on the 17th. And then I land on the 18th.
All right. September 17th, you're out of here.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
So if you're in New York and you're listening to this, try to find Akau's shows before he leaves.
I have a show tonight, but I don't think it will drop tonight. So then I have another show on Thursday. It's sold out though.
Where's that, by the way?
The Stand?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, The
Okay.
Stand is sold out. So that's just about it.
That's great. Well, we hope you come back and
Very soon, man.
and-
I'm listening to Zach.
and I want to come to the Jambo Fest.
Yeah,
in,
definitely, bro.
in South Sudan.
Yeah.
Once again, this is me, Gabe Pacheco. You can find me at GabePac1, GABEPAC, and the number 1. And Funhouse Comedy is every Wednesday night at Pete's Candy Store at 10 p.m. and it is free. So come to that. You might see our good friend Akau there with us.
It's very possible.
Yes. And please rate, review, and subscribe. We love your reviews. 5 stars only. All right. And now, to guide us out of this episode, the soothing sounds of Serene Patel, a.k.a. Brown Privilege.